Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending from where you're joining us today. Welcome to our Do What Matters in Travel webinar. We're very pleased you joined us today, so thank you very much. I'm sure none of you need me to highlight the fact that we're faced with a perma-crisis. After COVID, there came conflicts, high inflations, a potential recession, and yesterday I read we can expect a 1.5 degrees Celsius increase after all. This means we're continually challenged as individuals, as organizations, and we as a society as well. We are caught between old and new worlds, looking for purpose, redefining our identities, structures, stories, and behaviors. And this has been particularly the case for everyone working in travel and tourism. In just 3 years, travel has seen three radical mindset shifts. In 2020, there was escapism travel to get away from the constant worry and uncertainty of COVID times. This evolved into revenge travel by 2021 to make up for lost time, lack of stimulation, and spend all the money we have saved. And now we see highly intentional travel against the background of new constraints. A conscious and considered action justified by bringing added value, especially now as it needs to be justified by the added cost benefit lens as well. And there is now no normal in travel, no one size fits all. This year is about travelers doing what they want to do, not what everyone else is doing. So how to deal with all of this? Well, to focus on what matters. So today we'll tell you more about identifying consumer trends, how we produce our annual What Matters report, and how it can help you to identify what matters to your customers and prospects. So you can add richness to your insights and you can fine tune your strategy accordingly. Then let us start with a question for you. What do you think will matter for your audience in the next 5 years? As we answer this question, we need to consider all those macro forces like climate breakdowns, pandemics, and technology that has been shaping the future of our world. And now more than ever, we find ourselves in a moment of transition where we reflect on what we truly adds value to our lives. We question the systems we're part of, we worry about our finances and jobs, and struggle to find a good balance between work, personal life, and health. In such a dynamic, ever-evolving context, there's a continuous stream of trends in our category and styles. But what are the trends that really matter? What world do we actually want to live in? Everything is changing. We're all in transition. This is a year of transition. That's why this year's study is all about doing what matters. A moment in time where people are reflecting on what really matters to them as they seek to create more meaning in their lives. What matters to me and what matters to my family? What matters to the communities I'm part of, or what matters to our planet? And of course, all these things are interconnected. People are increasingly aware of the wider impact of their daily choices and actions. They're choosing to build deeper, stronger connections that help them to feel rooted and part of something. But they also seek change, to reimagine, to invent, and to transform. We, people, are ready to create the future they want to live in, and we are looking for brands to facilitate the transition to new ways of thinking, living, and being. And this is not just a trends report, but a story about what matters. It's a guide for becoming more relevant and meaningful to people, which hopefully provide you with new inspirations and pathways forward for your brand. We won't be simply encouraging you to follow trends. Rather, we hope to inspire you on how you can facilitate a shift from a crisis and frustration to greater togetherness and systemic care, aiming for this more meaningful and regenerative future for your brand, the people, and the planet. This is the philosophy that forms the backbone of this year's report, and we're very excited for you to reflect this message around the world to your customers. And as we deep dive into the trends, please ask yourself, what role can my brand then play in this new, meaningful, and regenerative future that people are imagining and searching for? Which brings us to who we are and what we would like to do. So let us shortly introduce ourselves. Hello, we're Humanate, and for some known as Insights Consulting, HTP, Join the Dots, or ABN Impact. We are a human-driven consultancy where we empower you to connect your brand to people and culture to drive positive change. Always starting where it really matters, people. The human mindset is at the core of what we do. And we're always looking for finding the right multi-perspective to create changes, the change your audience wants, in a true better together partnership approach. My name is Arjan Veniga. I'm a senior business director and leading one of our tech and services teams in Europe. where we proudly serve many travel and tourism brands like Eurostar, First Bus and First Rail and SkyTeam. And as a former marketeer myself, I'm very passionate about helping you building brands which really matter. I'm a big fan of traveling and cannot wait to jump on the next bus, train or plane to a new special place, but it needs something very special to be Japan, which is my all-time favorite. Today I'm not alone, I'm here together with Sean. Sean, would you be willing to introduce yourself?
Thank you, Ian. Hi, I'm Sean. I'm based in Manchester and I'm a senior research manager in the tech and services team along with Ian. I've been with Human8 since 2019, and in that time, I've worked on the Heathrow account for online travel providers and supported projects across rail, bus, and hotel accounts. I think when it comes to traveling, my favorite part is actually the planning of the trip. So doing all of the research, putting together a full itinerary. And I'm actually using my skills in this at the moment to plan my husband's trip to Istanbul for the Champions League final. But onto the trends today. So this year, our trend research has identified 4 drivers of human meaning that underpin what people are searching for in different parts of their life. Our first driver is stronger connections. Now, I don't know about you, but do you also have that friend or group of friends that you feel you've outgrown over the last few years because of how your lives have evolved? Or do you also have that friend who leaves you feeling negative, down, or tired? Well, that's what this trend is all about and what this driver stands for. It's all about looking for those social connections that leave us feeling enriched and energized rather than drained. Next is the deeper narratives driver. Driven by the rise of deconstructing social norms and taboos, we're seeking narratives that describe us, but don't define us or put us into boxes. We want to have the flexibility to choose how we frame and talk about our lives. But at the same time, we are realizing that the bigger systems in which we live today need to change. Because, for example, are you also more conscious about what you believe and, more importantly, what you don't believe being claimed by institutions or brands? Are you noticing the flaws and weaknesses in our systems coming to the surface? Well, that's why we're opting for systems and solutions that give back to us rather than extract from us. Systems that provide reliable stability. This is what supportive systems is all about. And last but not least, with the anxiety and uncertainty that are seemingly constant in our lives, we need anchors of comfort to hold on to. And that's why in Wonder Integrated, we're increasingly looking for wonder and the spiritual and the magical as an integral part of our everyday life to deal with these uncertain times. What works well for some is speaking daily affirmations in the morning or in the evening, or applying manifesting principles to their lives. For me, it's about connecting with nature as much as possible and getting out for hikes or bike rides as much as possible. But the fundamental question is, how can your brand start to act upon these drivers? Well, if we move to the next slide, then this is where this year's 12 trends come in, all structured under the meaning drivers that I just ran you through. Some trends are completely new, while others are evolutions of last year's trends. But these trends are not just trends for you to follow. Instead, they can act as guidelines or directions for your brand to become more relevant and regenerative to people. Today, we will zoom in on 3 of the trends that we have selected for you. But before doing so, let's look briefly into our methodology. Because in order to get to what matters, as a first step, we brought in our global network of cultural experts at Space Doctors together to look at how global market forces are shaping and impacting the audiences and categories of the future. Secondly, we identified the 4 drivers of human meaning, as mentioned at the start. We then had qualitative collaborations with 14 leading edge consumers in our in-house Illume network across Europe, the Middle East and Africa, APAC, and the Americas. We challenged and contextualized multiple themes by working together in digital co-creation spaces and getting them involved in creative tasks focused on defining what they want to see from brands in the future. And finally, we quantified our trends across 17 markets and with over 15,000 consumers to understand how the trends are manifesting in different regions, across different age groups, and against one another. So similar to last year, we also mapped the trends against how it's manifesting across the world and in different regions. On the horizontal axis here, you will see the attitude. This reflects the extent to which people find the trend important to give meaning to their life. On the vertical axis, we see the impact on behavior. This is the extent to which people act upon their attitude. And together, this gives us the 4 quadrants against which we map our trends. So as mentioned earlier, for this webinar, we've selected 3 trends that we are going to deep dive into and share some examples of how brands in the travel and tourism space are already acting upon them. So without further ado, I'll now take you through the first trend. First up, we have the stronger connections driver, which is all about us looking for those connections which enrich and energize us rather than drain us. The 3 trends under this driver are social health, in which we look to the relationships that boost our well-being, honest sense-making, which relates to a need for authenticity, understanding, and tolerance of all cultures and beliefs. And then finally, collaborative magic, which is the trend we will now explore further. Collaborative magic is our first trend space that we're going to explore today. And we chose this trend to discuss because it presents to us a fundamental shift in how people, brands, and creatives interact with each other to get great new innovations and communications via co-creation. For brands, though, it's not just about having a side project in collaboration. It's about building those fundamental solutions for your customers and with your customers. For example, brands are already experimenting in dynamic spaces such as TikTok, but they're not always engaging in a way that uplifts and nourishes the creativity that's already there. We believe that in the future will be positive collaboration in which brands and creators come together on a global scale, often in these virtual spaces, to help people and drive innovation and change. For consumers, there is a sense that much of this opportunity space currently sits with media and entertainment, given the virtual and creative nature of this trend. However, it is something that can and likely will be harnessed across categories in the future. So at this point, ask yourself, how can my brand act as a springboard for new collaborations by providing a space for co-creation? So going back to the mapping, collaborative magic are currently a nascent trend, early in its adoption journey. Primarily, we see leading edge consumers start to meaningfully engage with this space. As explained, this makes the trends of this nature ones to watch out for if your brand is looking to lead and be seen as a true early adopter. I already can see this happening around me. One of my younger colleagues is at the leading edge of gaming and virtual worlds, and I love to hear about the possibilities of impactful co-creation that's increasingly at the fingertips of ordinary young people. In this nascent leading edge space, collaborative magic is manifesting as a way in which we are celebrating the creative energy that comes from diversity. We are layering and reframing different perspectives to construct something more meaningful and powerful. We are embracing synergies that hail from building on each other's ideas and establishing a lively online ecosystem of communal creativity. Spaces like TikTok, Meta platforms, and Discord have accelerated these collaborations, moving beyond content creation to content collaboration. We are all content creators now on social media platforms, with millions of influencers creating and streaming content every day. However, content collaboration is paving the way for a future as we begin to increasingly consume collaborations from the leading edge. A jazz week in Malta, Primavera Sound in Barcelona, or sunset chill out sounds in Ibiza. Inspired by jet setters craving for wanderlust, Listen and Book was created to demonstrate how influential music tastes can be for travel and what it can reveal about a person's holiday preferences and help them discover a new personalized travel experience. For Spotify, this creative collaboration shows what's possible with streaming audio. Listeners engage with Spotify to experience inspiration and discovery. And the focus on personalization enables brands to cultivate meaningful interactive connections with their audiences. While for EasyJet, Listen and Book is about helping their customers discover new destinations across their European network, using Spotify's innovative technology to enhance their customer search and their booking experience. This collaboration is a perfect fit for their next-gen EasyJet brand strategy, with the ambition to pioneer the next generation of travel for all, connecting customers with people they love, new and diverse cultures, and unforgettable experiences. Listen and Book is a really great example of how brands can tap into consumers' mindset and engage with them in innovative and useful ways that drive real outcomes. And in case anyone is wondering, according to my Spotify, my traveler profile is rebellious, and suggested trips include punting in Venice or trekking mountains in Mallorca, which is something I've actually done before. And then for our second trend, this is the Disney Parks Disney Fandom channel on TikTok, a playground for fans' content creation. The TikTok channel shares the magic of Disney Parks, experiences and products. Whether it's well-loved characters coming out to socialize or a behind-the-scenes glimpse of the seasonal transformation at Magic Kingdom Park. The videos aim to stir the imagination, inspire the heart, and bring a dose of happiness to your everyday, wherever you may be.
My name is Danny, and I'm a costume designer with Disney Parks Live Entertainment. One of the coolest parts of my job is I get to design outfits for Mickey and Minnie to wear. So the outfits I'm working on are being revealed at the upcoming window dedication from the Make-A-Wish Foundation. For these outfits, I was inspired by the night sky, because nothing's more magical than glowing stars.
So as you can see, Disney share the magic in a new way. They're pushing the boundaries of creativity and fun with exclusive videos highlighting the best from their parks, including Disney cast members, guests, behind the scenes going on, as we saw there, and also sneak peeks to build excitement about upcoming events. A great example of a brand building that lively online ecosystem of communal creativity. So they were the two examples of collaborative magic brought to life.
Thank you, Sean, for explaining the first trend, collaborative magic for us. Next is the deeper narratives driver. Driven by the rise in deconstructing social norms and taboos, we're seeking narratives that describe us, but don't define or put us into boxes. We want to have the flexibility to choose how we frame and talk about our lives. And this driver also has three trends. The first one, Into the Nuance, which is all about a deeper exploration of life. The second one, Free from Assumptions, which is all about we want our own right to choose. And the third one, the ever evolving script, which we will dive further into. We'll now explore this second trend space in depth. If you have any feedback, thoughts, or idea on this trend, be bold, just put it in the chat. We're really looking forward to what you are thinking and feeling. But let's dive into ever evolving script. This is related to the overarching trend of deeper narratives, where when faced with a myriad of perspectives on roles and identity, we are seeking the flexibility to choose what we want to do ourselves. We're deconstructing the views and perspectives we inherited from previous generations, and we're creating our own set of multifaceted identities to express ourselves in full color. We're demanding proper labels and narratives without boxing ourselves in. We want to be free. So how do travel and tourism brands respond to this? Well, by making travel super personalized and inclusive of evolving moods, identities, and lifestyles. Globally, ever evolving script is an expanding trend. Expanding trends have high attitudinal adoption and are high in impact on behavior. So this is a trend that is very present amongst your mainstream consumers. And as a brand, you should be aware of its existence. What is this all about then? Well, in today's world, traditional milestones like education, marriage, and family planning, that's not aspirational for all. Instead, it's about recognizing our needs and lives are evolving and finding ways to feel comfortable with constant change. As life stage shifts and are not that linear anymore, they're also becoming more complex. Travel suppliers need to respond to different occasions and contexts. That could be in different ways, for example, through more advanced customization. The key question here for you, though, is to ask yourself, what does that mean for how you think about your audience and what they need? Let's look at some brands, how brands are responding to this trend already with some concrete examples. Lockdown proved that employees can be just as productive working outside the office as when they are working in the office. And with more employers now said to be expanding offers to work remotely, and the combination of a shift in work patterns and consumer pent-up desire for travel, there's an increasing demand for long-stay travel. Numerous boutique and hotel chains worldwide have started offering and selling remote work packages as a result. One example comes from a global hospitality company, Hyatt, who offered their work from Hyatt package at over 100 of their hotels and resorts. What does that mean? Well, it's an extended 5+ night stay through their package, which affords guests a separate workspace, discounted laundry services, quite essential, I think, free parking, Wi-Fi, and daily food and beverage credit. And if you want to take it up, well, they have their great relocate package as well, which takes the perks to the next level with complimentary housekeeping and access to a gym, board meeting rooms, and even IT supports for guests who stay for more than 29 nights. We don't know why that starts from 29 nights, but it shows that Hyatt identified this trend and translated into a proposition which fits the changing needs and the scripts their guests are waiting. The second example is also a well-known brand in travel. Club Med expects its tourism village in China to double before 2030, as the booming tourism market in China is expected to further drive economic recovery in the world's second largest economy. While family tourists are still the major target audiences for Club Med, we also came up with more diversified products for young couples, the silver citizens, and the Generation Z consumers aged between 16 and 24, said Andrew Zhu, CEO of Club Med in China. A survey by the Chinese Tourism Academy indicated that 90% of Chinese tourists prefer traveling with their families. That's quite high, I think. One suggested reason is family bonding is harder than it used to be, with China's rapid urbanization taking many workers away from their hometowns and families. So multi-generational travel has become a way to reconnect and spend quality time together. Again, this is an example where a brand, where traditional patterns are changing and a brand recognizes those and create a vision and starts acting towards it. Key question here for you is, what scripts are changing for your audience, Dan?
Thank you, Ariane. So our third set of trends sits under the supportive systems driver, where people are in search of systems that give back rather than extract from us. Under this driver, we again have three trends. Adaptable essentials, where there is an increase in the evaluation of things that are truly essential in our lives. Interconnected well-being is the increased consciousness that all of the environmental factors that impact both our personal and emotional well-being. And then finally, local flourishing, that we'll now explore further. So local flourishing is about us becoming aware of the flaws and weaknesses in our systems and the pressure that some organizations put on people and the planet. More and more of us are asking for pragmatic solutions that focus on care, support, and resilience. We are looking for alternative systems that provide reliable stability. We're in search of systems that give back to us rather than extract from us. So how should travel brands respond to this trend? Ask yourself, how can travel brands lead the way through decentralized thinking and local initiatives? What can your brand support through local collaborations and partnerships? So local flourishing sits in the niche trends quadrant, which, although in overall attitude, there is a very high engagement from those who do connect with this trend. This is a really promising position for your brand to be in if you're looking to meaningfully connect and collaborate with specialist or niche communities and narratives. This is exactly what this trend aims to do. For having experienced the limits of globalization, we're realizing the need to become more self-sufficient. We're investing in local networks that are supportive and robust in the face of change. It's really about leveraging travel as a way to allow people to come together, to share resources, to connect businesses, celebrate local culture, make the most of their own countries, and get in touch with the outer world, especially those in challenging circumstances, such as areas under environmental risk or communities with less exposure. For our first example, we see the third installment of Roger Federer playing tourist guide in his own country. And this time he is with comedian and late night talk show host Trevor Noah as his traveling buddy. The first two installments featured Robert De Niro and Anne Hathaway and have helped make this campaign by far and away the most successful global media activity that Switzerland tourism has ever undertaken, with over 160 million views between them. This film sees the two friends go on a ride of a lifetime on the Grand Train Tour of Switzerland, showcasing Swiss punctuality, hospitality, and the stunning natural beauty, demonstrating that the country offers travelers an unparalleled holiday destination.
We're on our way to Interlaken. I don't even know what that is.
That's 2 hours away from here.
Okay, it's just not that bad. It's not that bad. It's not that bad, right?
We're in deep trouble.
Huh? We're on a beautiful train. We're just late. Don't use that word. I'm sorry. Sorry.
So further activation of this campaign includes Roger's own website, enabling visitors to see the country through his eyes. There's also the My Swiss Bench social media campaign that encourages the public to highlight benches at beauty spots, a real key aspect of Swiss culture. And then there's the Roger Bot, a virtual version of Federer, offering inspiration, seasonal tips, and hidden gems of the country. And if that isn't enough, it's promoting sustainable travel, something Switzerland is leading the way for, coining a new deserving term of Swiss-stainable. Switzerland has always cared for its nature, leaving it untouched and always ensuring a perfect balance between the ecology. This campaign has taken the opportunity to highlight how Switzerland is leading the way towards a sustainable future by investing in local and sustainable resources. And our second example for today is a local one here in the UK. So First Bus took a local approach to the group's post-COVID recovery strategy, with a campaign that included a series of video ads, shelter ads, and timetable door drop adverts, depicting passengers socializing in different locations and various local areas where the group has a presence.
I'm going to print a square for friend time, not FaceTime. We're going to grab some food in town.
We're going for a picnic at Kelvin Grove Park.
I'm going to boss it back in the office.
I'm going to a classroom, not a class soon. All right, Glasgow, wherever you're going, live local, spend local, travel local. Let's get there together with First Bus.
So the tagline there, live local, spend local, travel local, is intended to tap into the growth in renewed appetite and necessity of local travel in the wake of COVID and lockdowns, and demonstrate the confidence that is coming back to the streets of these cities. The company worked in partnership with big brands and small independents in retail, leisure, and hospitality to bring exclusive offers, events, and experiences, all of which could be reached through one of their local bus routes. Again, a perfect example of making the most of what we already have close by and investing your money locally.
Thank you for that, Sean. In the ever-changing world that we live in, we know that one of the best things your company can do is keep up with those industry trends. That's hopefully also why you have attended this webinar. But it's not just about listening to the trends here today and that being enough. We want you to take away the learnings and knowledge you now have and be able to apply this to what you're seeing out in the world. We want you able to see a new launch or initiative from a competitor, for example, and be able to easily identify which trend space they're playing in, to understand whether they're playing it relatively safe with a mainstream trend, whether they're taking a different approach and aiming to become a leader in a new space, or maybe they're even trying to connect with a completely new consumer with a more niche approach. So we have taken you free of the trend spaces and shared some existing market examples, but now we'll show you 3 more. And we'd like everyone here to challenge yourself, to have a go at identifying which trend example these relate to. A little quiz to activate your trend spotting capabilities. Right, Sean?
Right, Ariane. So for our first example, we have the travel search engine Kayak and the fresh ability to and appetite consumers had to work from anywhere they wish. So they launched their first Work from Wherever index in 2022. The new index ranks 111 countries according to their remote working conditions and the opportunities to have amazing travel experiences. Using 22 different factors divided into 6 categories, such as health and safety conditions, travel prices, and social opportunities, the index gives a clear insight into the countries that would be easiest for people to work from whilst having a lot of fun in their off hours. If anyone's interested, Portugal is currently sitting top, although I think I'm probably quite tempted by Costa Rica at number 7. So for our second example, travelers are increasingly committed to purposeful travel, and not just strictly in an ecological sense. They're also seeking out companies and experiences that focus on benefiting local people and the economy and preserving natural and cultural heritage. Located in the Maldives' North Mel Atoll, Gili Lakanfushi takes great strides to protect its rich marine diversity and safeguard its surroundings for generations to come. Following a complete redesign of the island resort, it now marks its 10th anniversary with new experiences fitting its overall environmental ethos. This includes a new plant-based culinary concept in which island-grown produce is showcased in a chef's table experience, a signature coffee blend created in partnership with small coffee farms, and a strict no plastic policy and on-island eco-centre for recycling glass, aluminium, and food waste. And to go one step further, in early 2023, the resort launched a new marine biology centre with a dedicated research space and expanded coral regeneration program, where guests can participate in hands-on coral planting, reef cleaning, and study conservation alongside marine biologists. So guests don't feel like they're just respecting the natural environment, but they're actively engaging in activities to support its maintenance. So for our third example from South Korea, Seoul is the first major city to launch a metaverse platform for public services. The platform, named Metaverse Seoul, allows users to play games, chat, hold meetings, receive advice on starting businesses, file public documents, and take users on virtual tours. South Korea has been expanding its metaverse initiatives as part of its Digital New Deal political initiative. In February 2022, the nation announced plans to earmark about $200 million to fund metaverse projects, giving out grants to universities and companies to help expand their technologies. The city plans to fully roll out more government, business, tourism, and culture offerings over the next 5 years, as well as different languages such as Japanese and Chinese. Users of the metaverse platform can play games in a virtual replica of the Seoul Plaza and virtually visit the mayor's office. They can also take virtual tours of Seoul's top 10 most popular attractions, including the Blue House, Seoul End Tower, and Han River. The Metaverse Seoul platform has already been hailed as the best invention of 2022 by Time magazine, and other countries such as Japan are already developing their own versions. So to the answers, just as a recap, we have the 3 examples. Now let's see where they belong. So kayak, work from wherever. And can we see the results on that one? So ever-evolving script with 64%. A kayak fits under the ever-evolving script as it shows a response to the changes in work patterns and what's important to your consumers and their pent-up desire for travel. It's delivering new options in a way to meet these new desires. Moving on to marine biology, which is an example of local flourishing. Let's see the answers for this one. Okay, so 86% is clearly coming through that it's a local flourishing trend. And this is really a true example of giving back and not extracting. The resort is attempting to be self-sufficient by using only local and sustainable resources. And it's embedded these behaviors into its entire ethos. It's really about collaborating and working in that natural environment and not taking anything away from it. And then finally, Soul Metaverse, which is an example of collaborative magic. And again, most people have gone for that answer as well. Very good trend spotting skills on show today. So Soul Metaverse is it's not only a collaboration with the metaverse, but it's also the collaboration between the companies coming together to design, build, and deliver this platform and create that online ecosystem that really can be utilized by not only people living and working in the city, but also people who are wanting to travel there as well. So excellent job, everyone. They were the three trends and very nicely identified by all of you. I'll now hand over to Ariane again to take us through the
Yes.
final section for today.
Thank you, Sean. Hopefully this little quiz and the trends and examples we brought to you gave you some more insights to what matters to people and guide you to be more relevant and meaningful. Knowing from working with different travel and tourism clients, we know that things are shifting in different ways and it goes faster than ever, definitely in this industry. You've seen only 3 out of 12 trends and only 9 examples, but there are many more to identify, to explore, and to activate. So that's why we will send you the full report later this week. So please dive into it and find your personal favorite. But from our perspective, this is just a starting point. The real challenge lies in acting upon what matters for you. And be aware. Why? Well, because of this. People are people, and we're always looking for something new, and we adjust to our circumstances accordingly. So should we, as brands and organizations. And although this statement is well known and quite old, it's still very relevant. From our own research, we know that 61% of consumers say that their priorities keep changing as a result of everything going on in the world, which lead to different needs, different behaviors, and ultimately also new choices. So to stay relevant, it's really important to identify and understand the changes they experience and want. And more important, to find the appropriate activation so you can do what matters for them. Hopefully, you've seen that activating a trend doesn't have to be very complex. Some of them feel very naturally and straightforward. Think of the Disney Channel or 2 of my all-time favorites combined, Roger Federer and Switzerland. That's an ace, don't you think? But how do you do that? Well, how can you tap into trends which really matters, which create the future that your audience wants to live in and when everything is in transformation? Well, let's help you with some key learnings. The first one, identify who your customer is and if this trend applies to them. Trends serve a great purpose of getting a pulse where ideas and behaviors are starting to shift, but it does not necessarily mean that it matters to your customers. And this works best when applied to specific audiences. Think of markets or segments. So please take the time which trends are relevant to your customer lives in order to shape your brand's response. Think of example what Club Med is doing in China. The key challenge here is to make sure you find the sweet spot between what is changing, what your audiences expect or need, and if it matches with your brand. Then the second one, drive organizational alignment to the strategy. Once you understand which trends influence your customers' feelings and behaviors, the next step to drive effective change is to revisit your corporate purpose and underlying propositions. All to make sure that the trend is aligned with your brand and business strategy. And to make sure to prevent you do something which is not in line with what your customers expect from you. Now, more than ever, consumers look to brands to do more and walk the talk, not only when it comes to their products, services, and experience, but also through their values, culture, and social policies. These types of shifts can only be felt if the brand strategy permeates an organization and is not siloed to marketing, product development, or insights. We think that first is showing that well in their local approach. The key challenge here is to find a balance between understanding and action and align everyone to continuous learn and act. Very challenging, but with the right insights and insights activation can become a very nice journey for everyone involved. The last one, determine the best way to bring it to life and do that in authentic ways. Consistent delivery builds trust, and when a brand can successfully connect new strategies to their customer values and deliver on them, brand loyalty benefits. When they don't connect, a brand's authenticity may be in question or appear tone deaf. We all know the cautionary tales of brands that take a stance on the topic and fall flat. You don't want that. So having that connection between your brand and audience makes for a feeling that the activation is genuine and natural. For example, what Hyatt is doing. But what is exactly genuine or what is not? Some words, visual or actions are spot on, others are not. And although we do a lot of testing for you guys, there's no simple answer to that. As said earlier today, people are people and they're changing and always look for something new. What works today doesn't have to work tomorrow, or probably even work less. So our advice is to be on top of the ball. Make sure you test and learn, retest and learn again. It's such a shame if a well-designed trend activation doesn't work because the execution is just not right. We all work in travel and tourism, so you probably recognize that travelers always require something new and trendy. Continuous innovation is therefore essential to stay relevant. There are different ways to leverage the trends as a springboard for your innovation. But to fully unlock the power of trends, we propose a moderate innovation journey fueled by design thinking to make sure you turn them into validated concepts that are desirable, feasible, viable, and as important, sustainable. To do what truly matters, you have to start with defining what are the right things to design before you design them in the right way. So the first step is to define white spaces and strategize. Then you discover human needs and fall in love with your problem or challenge before you start to design solutions in co-creation with your audiences. Only then you prep yourself to deliver them to the market. We have different solutions to discover emerging needs. We can follow up with a deep call understanding on what problems your audience is looking to solve, as well as organizing one-on-one connects with your target audience to listen to their problems firsthand and build some empathy. We can tap into ICA, our global network of creatives, to generate out-of-the-box ideas to solve the most relevant innovation challenges for you. We can also facilitate ideation workshops, uniting stakeholders within the business to fuel idea generation around the emerging needs, and of course, help you in validating your winning concepts. We know you're all working on this every day and you want to find that new angle to satisfy your customer needs. We're always more than happy to find you the right way forward. And that's very nearly, I think that was it for today. We really hope you enjoyed the ride and got some inspiration to drive positive change for your brand and your audiences. And to make it work, do what matters on this journey. If you have any questions left or want to know more how you can do this, please reach out to us. We are more than happy to help you and share our experience. Once again, thank you very much for joining us, and hopefully we speak soon again. Have a good day.